Welcome to Psychic Insights, where pop culture meets higher consciousness and the tea is always a little bit mystical. I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and around here we don't just watch the drama unfold. We read the energy behind it, whether it's celebrity scandals, reality TV, chaos, or true crime with a twist. I'm tuning in to bring you the intuitive scoop the headlines miss. So buckle up, because your aura's about to get entertained. Welcome back to my channel. It's Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and oh my gosh, if you're new to my channel, welcome, and please do me a solid and like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and maybe make a comment, as long as it's kind. Okay. I break down real-life situations, court cases, and cultural moments using my intuitive insight, and I love patterns, and what I pick up beyond the facts. And this isn't about replacing the legal system, it's about looking at energy patterns. And it's my opinion and commentary and insights. But today we're talking about this nutbag, Dr. Konig. I have been glued to this case. And if you're new to it, check it out. This is what's gone on so far, okay? We just got the verdict. Okay, he was found not guilty of attempted murder. Womp womp, he should have been, in my opinion. Instead, the jury came back with guilty of attempted manslaughter based on extreme mental or emotional disturbance. And that tells us the jury believed something did happen, but they also believed that there was a loss of control or emotional mental component that impacted intent. So we're not looking at cold, calculated energy in the legal sense. We're looking at something that escalated. And that's exactly what I wanted to explore more intuitively. So the question I asked the cards, because you know I love to use my Lenormand cards. So I asked very directly, what is the truth about Dr. Gerhard Konig? And here's what came up. So those of you that love the Lenormand, I read just intuitively from them. I don't necessarily, follow the way people do. But we got fox, man, whip, ring. Okay, then we got mountain, sun, stork, and then we got tree, lily, and key, and then the final two were mice and ship. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this the way I would if we were sitting together, because this spread tells me a story. And right off the bat, I asked, who is he, And this doesn't feel random. It feels like a man who's strategic, aware, and used to navigating situations in a very calculated way. Now, if you watch the trial, that aligns. There's intelligence here, but also adaptability in a way that can cross lines. So when I saw the whip and the ring, that's a pattern. That's a pattern. This really got me. It's repetition, cycles that keep happening. So energetically, this doesn't feel like this came out of nowhere. It feels like this built over time. And I actually think that it aligns in an interesting way with the verdict, because when you see extreme emotional disturbance, that doesn't come out of thin air. That comes from something that's been building, looping, or not being dealt with. All right. And this part gave me chills. All right, we have the mountain, the sun, and the stork. Because this is mountain, something blocked, delayed, or protected. Sun, exposure to the truth or illumination. And the stork, that there's change, shift, a turning point. And this tells me that the truth did not come out easily. There may have been delays, resistance, or even structures in place that kept things from being seen clearly. But then something shifted. Something changed the trajectory of this case, and suddenly what was hidden became visible. So what happened behind the scenes that made everything turn? Like, we did see everything. We didn't hear all of it, right? All right. So this is the part I really want you to sit with. The tree. The tree. I gotta learn to do this. Tree, lily, and the key. The tree is long-term patterns or history. Makes me think that, this wasn't just about Ariel, right? His wife. Lily, power, authority, sometimes even control or moral dynamics. And the key. This is the truth, whether we like it or not. This combination says this situation is rooted in something deeper. Not just a bad day, not just a one-time loss of control, but something that has been developing, conditioning, existing beneath the surface. And the key says this case unlocks that. So whatever we're seeing publicly, I don't feel like that's the full origin story. I kind of get the sense that this man had an interesting childhood, probably one with a parent who's super controlling, some sort of wounding. And then we know that he was married prior, and I'm so curious about what happened there, right? But this is what we're seeing. So this is where it gets a little interesting too. Where is it? We have the mice and the ship, the mice and the ship. And because the ending of this spread is not clean, we've got mice, which is things being eaten away, details missing, anxiety. We've got the ship, distance, movement, and something drifting. And this gives me the loose ends, questions that don't fully resolve, and details that may never be completely clear. And it also can point to someone trying to create distance or parts of the truth that feel like they're slipping away. So even with the verdict, this doesn't feel like total closure. Okay, so let's talk about the verdict. Let's bring back what the jury decided. Attempted manslaughter due to extreme emotional disturbance. And energetically, that actually fits this spread more than attempted murder. Because I don't see cold, detached planning energy. I see a pattern, build-up, internal escalation, and something snapping or breaking. And that doesn't excuse anything. Believe me, I was totally disappointed in the verdict. But it explains that type of energy. So, now, because when I tune into the energy next, I asked about the sentence, okay? Because I want to be clear. This is intuitive. It's not a legal prediction. But the energy around the sentencing, which will happen, I think, sometime in August, feels heavy, binding, and very public. And we've got the energy of the whip and the ring, and then we have the key and the sun. So when we talk about these cards, we've got consequences with the whip. We've got ring, the binding outcome. We've got the key, final, locked-in decision, and sun, the visibility. And this does not feel like he walks away easily. It feels like a serious consequence, possibly something that feels heavier than expected on the defense side, and something that is meant to close the loop and send a clear message. There may be delays or appeals with the mountain and ship, but ultimately this feels like a sentence that sticks. And what I keep coming back to is this. This case isn't about one moment. It's about what builds, what gets ignored, and what eventually forces itself into the light. And even now, I don't feel like we've seen every piece, but we've seen enough for something to shift permanently. So if you're into this kind of breakdown where we look at the facts and the energy beneath them, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell. And if this case hits something in you, I'd love to hear your thoughts because the conversations matter. I was in the chat for a couple different lives, and I got to tell you, there was some disappointment in how some people were responding to this case, and then in another chat room, completely supportive of people who have gone through being in relationships with what I term as a narcissist. And I think we saw a lot of that pattern in The Good Doctor. Anyway, like, subscribe, follow along, and let me know what you think. And as always, I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and I will see you in the next one.